Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to League Racing TV here for round number 5 of the Esports Masters League Console 1 Championship. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action, and as you guys can see, we are heading to the jewel in the crown of the F1 calendar. That is right, it is Monaco, and so many iconic corner names, such an iconic track, of course, being a part of the F1 calendar since its inception, since the beginning of time. And it has always been a track where it is very high risk, very high reward. In fact, let's have a little look at the track in question. Of course, here at Monaco, 3.3 kilometers, 2 miles in length, 19 corners, and of course, 1 DRS zone down the start finish straight. The elevation changes climbing up through the streets of Monaco and then, of course, dipping down towards the harbour is going to provide a lot of interesting dynamics for the drivers to contend with tonight. And, of course, the classic saying, careful into Saint Devon, of course, turn number 1 as you climb up the hill through Beau Rivage and Massenet into the casino section. Of course, coming down into Portier, through the tunnel, Nouvelle Chicane, to back the swimming pool section, Rascasse, and of course Anthony knows the last corner of the circuit. A lot of iconic corner names, a lot to be going on here in EML, and of course a track where qualifying is one to keep an eye on. Of course, overtaking around here, very, very difficult. But before we jump into what is going on in qualifying as it currently stands, massive shout out to our sponsors at Ronan Printworks 3D. Absolutely fantastic work that those guys do, and we very much appreciate the sponsorship. But let's have a look at the driver lineup for tonight. Of course, for FGE, it is Typical and Callum in for them in the Red Bull racing cars. In the Mercedes is Turbo Toms and Leo Lopez in for LR. For CPI, Francesco Lago and CPI Fraser in the McLarens for CPI. GT10 coming through with Deval and, of course, Boyolulu in the Scuderia Ferraris. EVE coming through with Lucas and Lowlock. I'm going to go with Lowlock, right? That's what I'm going to go with, right? That's let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go with Lowlock. In the Aston Martins. In the Alpines, we have OVR with Dream and Verdi. In the Williams for VMV, we have Rizzo and, of course, Jan. FRT in the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. The RBs, of course, is going to be Harvey. And it would be NASCAR, but NASCAR, I believe, has just had to pull out about an hour ago. So the driver that is going to be jumping in instead of NASCAR is, of course, Bella Orfox. So Bella going to be jumping in the second seat alongside Harvey here tonight. And of course, Neverlast Racing coming in with Ivan Kanai and of course Ivan Esrig. Let me know if I said that right. Probably not, but who knows. And of course, IRT in the Haas F1 cars. They're coming through with Zoade and of course Sieb. And last time out in Silverstone, it was a very, very frantic race. But in terms of the championship, it does see CPI maintain the championship. Sorry, not CPI. Neverlast Racing maintain the championship lead on 85 points. CPI, though, with a big result, closing that gap, getting themselves back up in the second in the championship, only 4 points off the top. Evisio Racing currently in third on 78 points, and then 77 points for GT10 with OVR in fifth on 73 points. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. The top 5 teams covered by 12 points. And in EML, that it's very easy to have a point swing of 12 points. And then, of course, a little bit further back, we have FRT with a big result last time out. They are currently in 6th on 48 points, 10 points clear of IRT in 7th on 38 points. VMV on 29 points, with 27 points for FGE. And, of course, Legacy Racing with 4 points on the board. Now, guys, of course, qualifying is underway. We've got our first set of times in, so I think without further ado, we should head out to what is going on track right now, as the first group of lap times have come in. And it is CPI Fraser that tops the times with a 107.4. So 107.4 there for CPI. Currently on a pole position, as we are going to go on board with a car that is on the outlap. And I believe Francesco Lago for CPI will be the man that will get us underway of a full lap around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit here in Monte Carlo. Of course, the jewel in the F1 calendar, the jewel in the crown, and high risk, high reward, especially here in qualifying. So let's go full screen on board with Francesco Lago. Remember, a 7.4 is what he needs to take pole position away from his teammate as he comes through Anthony Knowles. DRS wide open as we run down to begin the lap. Heading towards turn number 1. Careful in towards Saint-Devon. Of course, the classic saying, scraping the wall on the exits. We climb up the hill now through Beau Rivage, heading up to turn 3 at Massenet. Dropping it down a 5th gear there for Francesco Lago. Through Casino, 4th gear for the CPI man. 17.9 in the first sector as we head through Mirabel Holt and into the hairpin, the Grand Hotel hairpin, as we come into Mirabel Bass. And then, of course, through Portier, turn number 8. Now into the tunnel we will go, where you're going to see a decent bit of slipstreaming, I reckon, to try and make a move down into this braking zone, into the Novell chicane. Very easy to clip that inside curb, inside wall, I should say, going through the Novell chicane. But now through to back into the swimming pool section, taking all the curb possible, breezing up right next to the walls as we head down in towards Rascas. 2nd gear, getting the car rotated now through Anthony Knowles. Once again, DRS wide open for Francesco Lago as he comes towards the line. Is it going to be provisional pole? Yes, it is for Francesco Lago. It's a 1 minute 6.9 for the man in the CPI car. Incredible lap time there from Francesco Lago, and I'm very glad that we was able to be on board with that lap time, as he is half a second clear of his teammate, who is currently on the front row with him. So Francesco Lago absolutely flying. We're seeing, of course, a wide spread in terms of lap times here. Half a second between the CPI pairing on the front row, and then of course 3/10 between Fraser and Jerome there for OVR. Very close between Ivan and Jerome there for P3. And obviously Lucas just a little bit behind around about half a tenth off of Ivan. And then of course we have a 3/10 gap. A lot of drivers there in the low 1 minute 8s, and of course the low 1 minute 8s is where we are seeing the likes of Lolo, Verdi, Wade, obviously Deval, and obviously then we come into the mid 8s with Turbo Toms and the likes of Yancy, but typical Boyolulu. And then of course half a second off the back of Boyolulu, we then head into the 1 minute 9s, where of course is the likes of Harvey, Bella, Rizzo, and of course 2 times yet to be on the board from Callum, and even Kanai, who is currently on a lap, I believe. But that first sector, about a 10th down on Francesco Lago, and but even Kanai definitely needs a big lap time here, as his teammate has gone and done with Ivan actually. Oh, as even Kanai takes a little bit too much of the curve through the Novell chicane, and that is his lap time over and done with. But what I was going to say, big lap time there from Ivan, who puts himself onto the front row, splitting the CPI pairing, which is fantastic to see. And who is that in the wall? It is a Scuderia Ferrari. That's Boyolulu in the wall, and that is of course the risk that you do take around here at Monaco. Very easy to get it wrong, very easy to lose a bit of front wing or to lose a wheel of your car. As you see there, Bella getting all out of shape, going through Rascastle, locking up, almost careering on into the wall, and we almost got a bit of a flashback to real life F1, where obviously, if you remember way back in the day, Michael Schumacher famously whilst on pole position, and Fernando Alonso was going quicker in behind, famously went straight at Raskas and of course parked his car there, and that of course caused a red flag, which meant that Fernando Alonso could not improve on his lap time, which of course led to a lot of controversy, including a grid drop there for Michael Schumacher back in the day. But that is a flashback there around Monaco. In fact, everyone in the chat, let me know what is your favourite Monaco memory. Like, what is your favourite memories of the Monaco Grand Prix? Because I mean, I can think of a few. Of course, you know, Danny Ricciardo's masterful strategy where saw him stay out on old tyres to get the win around you. I mean, obviously you think back to some of the classic races and in years gone by, of course, that famous lap time that we always see from Ayrton Senna, the late great Ayrton Senna. It's just one of those circuits that's just steeped in F1 history, as Callum there grazing the wall on the exit of Sanderson. Sport in the chat right now from Neverlast Racing, and of course CPI Jav in the chat saying his favourite Monaco Grand Prix moment, where of course Jenson Button got called to jump into Fernando Alonso's seat as Fernando Alonso was attempting to complete the Triple Crown championship. So he missed the Monaco Grand Prix, and Jenson Button famously saying that he's going to urinate in Fernando Alonso's car. As Callum unfortunately invalidates on his lap, he does have Rizzo ahead of him. Runs a little bit deep in towards Raskas. Of course, are we going to be seeing any moves there into Raskas? That's going to be the question, because it can be done. You just got to get a good run, and Rizzo there improves his lap time, but not his position. Even Clay out there on another lap. We got Francesco Lago coming to the line, marginally up in the middle sector. And is it going to be an improvement? Yes, it is. It's still 1 minute 6.9, but it's an improved lap time there from the CPI man. And meanwhile, in behind Neverlast Racing's Ivan, marginally up in sector 1, almost 800 so a second up in sector 1 as we come through Portier now, getting the car rotated, third gear now on the exit, using that battery, using the overtake as we head down into the Novelle chicane. Gotta make sure you don't turn in too early and clip that inside wall. You want to make sure as well that you don't turn in too late, because it's very easy to pick up a invalidation and track limit warning through the chicane. Through swimming pool now, you can see Ivan a 10th up on his lap time, really attacking the swimming pool section, getting the car lovely rotation there through the Raskas now through Anthony Knowles. DRS wide open to the line. Welcome Ivan. Is he going to be into the sixes? No, but it is an improved lap time from him, as he is currently on a 7.1. As Fraser not going to be able to go any quicker in this session because he is out of the session, and that of course it's just the nature of Monaco. Everyone is going to be absolutely tiptoeing around. This is the most important part of a Monaco Grand Prix weekend, where of course qualifying is kind of looked at as a bigger essential than the actual race. Of course, transferring from real life to the sim racing world, it is possible for you to actually do some overtaking around here, but it is all high risk, high reward, as we see a bit of front wing, a bit of carbon fibre off on the exit of the swimming pool there, as Triple Tom's into the pits, of course, representing LR here tonight. IRT's is the Wade, and Sebe, of course, on cooldown laps. Typical is just coming out of the pit lane. Jan also on a cooldown lap. Harvey on an invalid lap time. Bella also on a in lap. So with just over 4 minutes to go in the session, let us assess of what we've got so far. So right now, on provisional pole position, we have Francesco Lago for CPI. Of course, a team that is chasing down the current championship leaders, which are of course Neverlast Racing, who are currently being represented here tonight by Ivan and Ivan Knay. And both of the drivers are inside the top 10, but Ivan is currently on the front row, sharing that front row spot with Francesco Lago. Then, of course, we got Verdi for OVR currently in third, with Fraser there in fourth. And then, of course, we got EVE's Lucas alongside Jerome. So a very good qualifying performance thus far from OVR. And, of course, the second Neverlands Racing driver of Even Clyde there in 7th place. Turbo Toms for LR currently in 8th. Then, of course, we got Zoid and Seeb in 9th and 10th, sharing the 5th row of the grid is the IRT pairing. Lolo, of course, unfortunately out of the session, so there's going to be no improvements here from Lolo. He can only go backwards in this qualifying session now, as we jump on board with Deval here as he climbs up the hill towards turn number 3 at Massenet. And let's see if Deval can find any improvements up here, as we got support for Ivan in the chat saying come on Ivan. And of course Ivan doing a fantastic job. He's 2/10 off of Francesco Lago's time at the moment, but he is on the front row, which is crucial as Deval there locks up the rear tyres into the Grand Hotel hairpin, and that unfortunately unsettled his car, got him way too much onto the curb on the inside, and that definitely would have lost him a decent chunk of time. But now into the Novell chicane, locking up the tyres, trying to get the car slowed down, rotated through, all valid as we head now into the back. And a 10th and a half up for Deval. So even with these minor mistakes, he has found some time here now through Raskas. Oh, big snap on traction from Raskas, but Deval, he had a little bit of time in the bank, and he unfortunately went ahead and lost it all. So he's going to have to save up his battery and go again. But let's see what's going to go on here. So we got Ivan about to begin his final lap here in qualifying. Unless, of course, he makes a mistake early on, he may have time to back off, save the battery, and go again. 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining in the session as we climb up the hill through Massenet now for Ivan, through the casino. Oh, and he gets too much onto the throttle through the exit of casino, and now he's facing around the wrong way. Heartbreak there for Ivan. Way too much throttle there on the exit. I think the curb also might have just unsettled him as he was getting on the throttle, but you can see the carbon fibre of his front wing all down the road in the run from Casino into Mirabel Hulk there. But Francesco Lago, I think, realising that Ivan, of course, has made a mistake, he's backing off. Is this wise though to back off? We got Verdi, who is currently trying to improve his lap time, but he is invalidated, so he's trying to make sure he can get around to go again. The checker flag is around about 20 seconds away from coming out on the track, as Jerome there 2.5 times up through his lap times, as I'm not sure if Verdi's going to have enough time to get across the line. He may do. So Verdi will be the last man across the line. The first man across the line will be Jerome, and he goes up into P3. It's an OVR second row right now as we jump on board with Lucas here, who's a 10th up in the middle sector, tapping the wall on the exit of the swimming pool into Raskas, and the checker flag is out. Seeb up into P6 for IRT. What a lap time for him. But will Lucas knock him down into the 7th place as he comes to the line? Yes, he does. Up into P5 goes the EVE man. As even Kanai, of course, not improving on his lap. What about Zwade? Zwade, oh, he's a 10th up. And that could get him up ahead of Turbo Toms here in towards the top 10. And ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to have to do now is have a little look, have a little gander of what's going on with the guys towards the front in just a moment's time, because of course Francesco Lago and Jerome are the two final men to cross the line, and I believe a mistake there from Jerome, and that could be his lap over and done with. Harvey improving up to 15th. Right, let's go on board with these two. Francesco Lago invalidates on his lap time, nothing he can do there. And I believe yet Jerome made a mistake into the pit lane. That is qualifying over and done with. It is this man, Francesco Lago, who takes pole position here in Monaco. What a lap time from the CPI man, the only man in the 1 minute 6s, 2 tenths clear of Ivan, who will join him on the front row. Can anyone stop Francesco Lago here tonight? Guys, let me know in the chat right now. Can anyone stop the CPI driver that is Francesco Lago here? Let's run you through the order one more time. It's Francesco Lago who takes pole position and the pole position point here in Monaco, with Ivan for Neverlast Racing, who will join him on the front row. An OVR second row pairing of Durham and Verdi, with EVE's Lucas in 5th, CPI Fraser in 6th, for IRT Seb in 7th, Zoid for IRT in 8th. Then of course we got Ivan Knay and Toms rounding out the top 10. Then of course we got Jan, Lolo, Typical, Deval, Harvey, Boyolulu, Bella, Rizzo and Callum, who will fill out the rest of the grid. And guys, what a qualifying session that was right there. Francesco Lago immediately putting down a marker and found a little bit more time on his second run. Wasn't able to improve at the end, but he made sure that the first lap time he put down was a good one. And that is what it is all about here. Again, guys, a quick reminder of the championship standings coming into tonight. Neverlast Racing lead the way on 85 points, 4 points ahead of CPI Esports there on 81 points. Then, of course, Vizio Racing currently in P3 on 78 points, 1 point ahead of GT10, who are currently in 4th place on 77 points. And then, of course, OVR, they're in 5th on 73 points. That is right, guys. 12 points separating the top 5 teams. Very, very close this season between these 5 fantastic esports teams. FRT currently in 6th on 48 points. They're trying to break away from the likes of IRT and the VMV and the FGE in behind to try to maybe make themselves a bit more solidified away from the bottom of the field, and of course trying to close up as best they can to the guys up ahead. It's going to be a long road though for FRT to do that, especially in the form that we've seen the 5 teams in front as of recent weeks. IRT there in 7th place on 38 points, with VMV in 8th on 29 points. They're 2 points ahead of FGE, so a very close battle going on between those 2 teams. And then of course LR, who have, unfortunately for them, this season has not gone the way that they would have wanted this season thus far. And of course, quick reminder of the point system here in the Esports Masters League. Of course, there's a point for the pole position, which of course is going the way of CPI, so they close up in the championship by a point. The gap is now 3 points between those 2 teams. There's a point for the fastest lap as well. And then of course, 22 points for the race win, 18 points for second place, 15 points for third place, 12 points for fourth place, and then 11 points for fifth, going down in increments of 1 all the way down to P15, where you get 1 singular point. And then of course 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th, nil points. No points. None whatsoever, unless you pick up a fastest lap point. But that is going to be that right there. And of course around Monaco is all about survival. Absolutely all about survival around this circuit. Of course, let's have another little look at the circuit itself. Like, there's just so many hazards around this circuit. Of course, there's the debate right now of whether Monaco is suitable for F1 in terms of its current standards, because of the cars being as wide as they are. It means that they can't really race around here much. It all comes down to strategy. But of course, in the sim racing world, you do get some pretty decent racing that does happen from time to time. But everything around here comes with a risk. And who is going to be the man tonight that will risk it and take victory? That is going to be the question, and we will find out in a moment's time. Guys, we will be back after this short intermission as we get the lobby reset, and then we'll go to those 5 red lights here around Monaco. Until then, guys, I will be right back in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's a quick turnaround in terms of getting the lobby set back up and now ready for the race, which is absolutely fantastic to see. I see in the chat, Jav has a prediction already. 4 safety cars around Monaco, and honestly, Monaco is definitely going to be a track that does provide some safety cars, but I don't think we're going to see 4 safety cars, Jav. I personally think we're going to see, or maybe 3 VSCs and 2 safety cars, maybe. That's what I think. I think we're more likely to get VSCs in this race compared to full course safety cars, but we'll have to wait and see if your prediction comes true. Troya says, my prediction is Francesco Lago by whatever he wants. So early prediction for a race winner in Francesco Lago here tonight, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the race pace is like versus the qualifying pace of the CPI driver. That is for sure. The driver is currently right now making sure that they get their setups all sorted and all in order, because of course when the lobby gets reset, everyone has to remember the setups, because one thing you do not want is a default setup around Monaco. Trust me on that one. I've done that one before and it's not a pleasant experience. Absolutely not. And we will be seeing who is going to come out on top here tonight. We're going to transfer over to the pit lane right now as the cars are in there. A lot of them is what I think we're going to be seeing of. We're going to be seeing a lot of front wings here tonight. Of course, outside the Red Bull garage, you see the front wing there. I feel that we're going to be seeing a fair few of them being used tonight. That is for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get your top three for tonight. Let me get your top three. Who do you think is going to be on the podium? Obviously, Troya is back in Francesco Lago to win. But who do you think is going to be joining him on the podium, Troya? And Jav, who do you think is going to be on the podium? Honestly, strategy could come into effect here. You never know. A well-timed pit stop could get you a nice undercut on the rest of the field. And of course, being in clear air is much better than being stuck behind the car around here at Monaco. So let me get your predictions, guys. Let me get them. Of course, the championship right now separated by 3 points, with the pole position point collected by Francesco Lago for the CPI team. The gap is now 3 points between Neverlast Racing and CPI as we head into tonight's race. 39 laps awaiting these guys as the 5 red lights are about to go out here in Monaco. Lights are out and we are underway for the Monaco Grand Prix as we funnel down all the way into San Devon, and Francesco Lago gets a fantastic start. Everyone looks to be going decent so far, keeping it all out the wall. Look at this, Fraser pushing Lucas up the hill as we head through Massenet in towards of course Casino now. And of course this is one of the overtaking opportunities down the inside into a Mirabel Holt, but no move there. And look at these, look at even Kanaide sending one down the inside into the Grand Hotel hairpin. Gets the move done on Sieb, and so we got yellow flags in behind, and that is a virtual safety car here deployed on lap number 1. Virtual safety car now deployed. The race gets neutralized for right now as Francesco Lago, a great getaway from him, made sure that when he went into turn 1, all he had to do was focus on the corner and not on a car alongside him. Looking at the tyre strategies as well of the drivers around the field, majority of the grid going for a set of the medium compound tyres with FRT typical. Obviously we got a couple of pit stops now, so maybe some early front wing changes there for the likes of Lolo, Jan and Callum. Callum, of course, one of the drivers who opted for a set of the hard compound tyres. He's going to be switching onto a set of mediums now, but the other drivers who opted for a set of hards were of course both of the FRT drivers, in Harvey and Bella, and of course typical, they're going for a set of the hards as well. And of course with the virtual safety car being out, the pit stop is shortened as we're back to green flag racing once again. A good restart there for Francesco Lago as he absolutely pulls away from Ivan. The OVR pairing currently line astern in 3rd and 4th place, holding on to their good positions as Lucas, remember he was under pressure before the virtual safety car came out from this man in behind, CPI Fraser. And we're going to see if Fraser's got anything for Lucas in just a moment's time as we just come on board with Ivan Kanai, who taps the wall through to back. And that is not going to be good if he's chipped a bit of front wing off. Let's have a little look from the outside. Any front wing damage here does not appear to be on the Sauber. So looks like Ivan Klein may have got away with one right there, but through turn 1, San Devon, Boyolulu sets the fastest lap of the race. Of course, that is not going to mean anything right now as we were under virtual safety car conditions for the majority of that lap. So expect the lap time to come down quite considerably. But look at Francesco Lago. 2-second gap already in 3 laps with the virtual safety car out to play, and Fraser getting the move done on Lucas, which we literally wasn't able to see, but Fraser getting the move done around the Grand Hotel hairpin. Job done for the CPI man. Now you go chasing after both of the OVR pairing. But Francesco Lago, 3 seconds a gap now. As Finley in the chat pointing out as well, wallahi, Francesco is a second a lap quicker. Yes, he is. And Francesco Lago is bolting away into the distance. And unless there's safety cars to close him back up to the rest of the field, I think Francesco Lago has the pace to pull enough of a gap that maybe he could even make a two-stop work and stay ahead of everyone. 3.4 seconds the gap between the CPI man and of course the Neverlast Racing man of Francesco Lago and of course Ivan. As Ivan under pressure from both of the OVR pairing, is CPI Fraser just creeping up onto the back of these guys. And of course he's made a move on Lucas already, so Fraser not afraid to go for the moves here at Monaco. As even can I side by into the wall there as we've just come on board with Turbo Toms and even Kanai getting very close, very sketchy between the pair of them coming through the tunnel. But it looks like Turbo Toms able to hold on, literally taps the exit wall through to the back. But look at that car, that looks very unstable. If I'm even Kanai right now, I am honestly like holding on for dear life. And of course Nordic Ninja in the chat saying, well, that was close, that was indeed close. And of course that could have collected lots of drivers in behind, as you can see with Sieb, Deval and Typical not too far off the back. So very close between these two. And honestly Turbo Toms trying to get some points on the board for LR here tonight. Looks like just the one driver here for LR as Wade gets a little bit out of shape going in towards the hairpin. Back up towards the top. Well, the battle for the second place, I should say, because Francesco Lago has literally he's checked out. He's in a different postcode right now, is Francesco Lago. I mean, he is literally gone. 5.5 seconds up the road. Francesco Lago is demonstrating a level of speed around here worthy of championship material right now. And I think if CPI do ever if they do win the championship at the end of the season, if Francesco Lago can hold on with this kind of pace, this will be the highlight of the season for CPI. I can almost guarantee that. As Ivan under pressure here from Jerem as we come through Casino in towards Massenet Holt. Mirabel Holt. And safety car deployed. That's Turbo Toms out of the race. And we mentioned that his car was unstable. It looks like he's lost it on the exit of Casino in the wall. There is the Mercedes LR again, going to be picking up no points here tonight as he leaves the session. Lap number 6, we've had a virtual safety car and a full course safety car. My. It was very difficult as me as a Welshman to not say delighted at the end of that. I'm not going to lie, guys. But is Francesco Lago coming into the pit lane right now. And of course the pit lane entry, another thing to keep an eye on as well, is those picking up speeding penalties coming into the pit lane. A set of hard compound tyres going on for the CPI man as the rest of the field funnels in behind. OVR though, going to have to double stack. That's going to drop Verdi down the field just a little bit as you see a number of cars begin to go past the OVR man, and this is going to be heartbreaking for Verdi here. And it's just, let's see where he's going to come out to. P10. So by double stacking with his teammate, he's gone from P4 down to P10. Typical opting for a set of the medium compound tyres. He needs to make these tyres work, and in fact, while we are here under safety car conditions, let's have a look at the penalties. Jerome with a drive-through penalty. A drive-through penalty for the other OVR driver. Is gone from bad to worse for OVR. The double stack leading to Verti falling down the order, and now the lead driver Jerome with a drive-through penalty. Wow, wow, wow. And of course he would have picked up with under what's called yellow flag conditions, maybe driving a little bit too quickly, and that's where he would have picked up that drive-through penalty. But ladies and gentlemen, heartbreak for OVR here tonight. Wow. Of course, EVE, NLR, CPI, and of course GT10 will be very much loving the fact that obviously with Verti having the double stack, he's down the order in P10, and the only rivals he's ahead of in terms of Verti is of course a Boyo Lulu there in 11th place, and of course a Lolo down there in 14th for EVE. So I mean, Verti is ahead of two drivers, but he's behind the other two from the other teams respectively, and of course behind both CPI and of course NLR drivers. So losing out massively. But Jerem there with that drive-through is going to fall all the way to the back of the grid, and that for him is going to be absolute heartbreak, because OVR are going to lose out massively here. Unless we get a absolute miracle around Monaco for Jerem, getting back to these heights again is going to be almost a impossibility. But in motorsport, anything is possible. But maybe this one might just be a little bit too out of reach. Of course, Francesco Lago seems to have the kind of race pace around here where the only thing that could really stop him would be himself. Because regardless, I think even if a safety car comes out, he can build up a big enough gap that he stays out ahead of the rest of the field. A virtual safety car, if that comes out at some point, he literally will have that advantage, so he could probably stay out as well. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that unless something goes horribly wrong for Francesco Lago, it's his race to lose. Like, we've seen the pace. The pace is undeniable, guys. Of course, that does mean all the pressure in the world is on the CPI man. And of course, Troy probably won't like me saying that in the chat, but I mean, after seeing his pace in the opening few laps, I mean, it is what it is. Support for the man in P8 in Lucas from the Grandada. They're saying, tell EV Lucas he is the best and we support him. Of course, I will not, because can't show no bias. I can't do it. Of course, asking for a view change. Of course, it doesn't really matter at this moment in time because we are under safety car conditions. But normally we do like to go on TV upon a camera so we can get a better view of things. We do switch back and forth between broadcast and TV cam though. So trust me, there will be some times where it will be in broadcast. Safety car is in this lap as we go on board with Ivan, ready to see if he can react to Francesco Lago here and try to get himself as close to the CPI man in towards turn number 1 at San Devon as we head in towards Rascas now. Controlling the pace is Francesco Lago. On the exit of Anthony Knowles. And there we go. Francesco Lago has gone. And it looks like Ivan not quick enough to respond as we head down in towards turn number 1. Everyone keeping it cool, calm, collected. A bit of a gap forming up into P5 now is Ivan Kanai, so he can try to get onto the back of Fraser to try and help Neverlands Racing as much as possible, because right now they're in a net P3, P4 position as we run down in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin with the likes of Francesco Lago. Ivan, Jerem, and of course Fraser. And Jerem will have to duck out of this battle in the next 2 laps because of that drive-through penalty. But back to the tyre compounds right there as Fraser tries to get onto the back of Jerem, but he's got a little bit of company in behind him right now as Ivan Knai is closing in. Neverlast Racing versus CPI once again about to commence as we come on to lap number 11, and there goes Jerem into the pit lane, and unfortunately for OVR it's going to be a very difficult race for them now as Typical's out the race. Typical, he's lost it on the start finish straight. What has happened there to FRT? Typical here making a mistake. Heartbreak there, of course, representing FGE now is Typical, but my, another safety car deployed here, lap 11. Typical out of this race, and that is a second safety car on the way to Jav's prediction of 4 safety cars here tonight. So Jav is halfway there. Are we going to be saying Mystic Jav in the chat? Maybe? Who knows? Who knows? But if you are Jerem right now, you are absolutely loving life because you did just get rid of that drive-through penalty before the safety car was deployed, and because of it you are now in 16th place. Yes, you're down towards the back of the field, but you now have the ability to bunch back up and make some overtakes happen. So a bit of a lifeline being thrown to the OVR man. Of course, his teammate currently in P8, Verdi, who of course has jumped up 2 positions, one with Jerem making the drive-through penalty, and of course the second one with Typical's exit of the Monaco Grand Prix. But lap number 12, Francesco Lago now comes onto the back of the safety car as we climb up the hill towards Massenet. Feel bad for you, Mike. Gonna be a long evening for you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, Rishi, you know me. You know me a very long time. I can get through Monaco. Monaco, for me, is like a fine wine, right? You either love it or you hate it. It's a bit like Marmite. Bit like Marmite. Now, me personally, I enjoy commentating over Monaco. It can be stop-start from time to time, but you do see some fantastic racing around here from the odd occasion. And when you see a driver like Francesco Lago absolutely blitzing around this circuit on the edge with an incredible pace, like, it's a fantastic thing to see. So again, as much as it can be a long race around Monaco, seeing some fantastic battles around this circuit, seeing a driver literally showcasing some incredible speed, as well as, you know, just pure track like knowledge and awareness of when to turn in, when to brake, like, that is the kind of thing that I enjoy watching as a commentator. So it might be a long race, but I'm going to enjoy it nonetheless. And of course, if there is a down moment, it means that I get to chat with you guys. So it's always fantastic. And I get to see your guys' views, your opinions, your predictions. As Jerem with a 10-second time penalty collision with Bello Fox. And that is just gone from bad to worse for the OVR man. And I think potentially at the end of this lap, we're going to be seeing either the safety car coming in at the end of this lap, or we're going to see Jerem come into the pits at the end of this lap. Because 10-second time penalty, he can obviously pit to get that gone and then close back up. But you will be done in 17th place, but at least he won't have that penalty. But is one of them ones. If the safety car comes in at the end of this lap, I think he's going to have to tough it out and try to pick up the paces where possible, as we take a lovely view of the harbour here in Monaco under the night sky around the Monaco Grand Prix. So it looks like the safety car will stay out for one more lap as we head on to lap 14 of 39. Will Jerem come into the pit lane to get rid of that 10-second penalty? And yes, he does, into the pits. And I think a front wing change is going to be needed as well for Jerem there. So let's have a look. Is there front wing ready and prepared for him? Yes, there is. Front wing change, and of course a change of tyre is going to be going on to Jerem's car. And I believe there's a possibility here for setting the mediums. Yes, it is. The yellow walled medium compound tyres are going on to the OVR's Alpine here tonight, and he is released. Same with VMV's Jan as well, opting for setting the mediums. Now these guys on the mediums need to use them to their advantage, but we saw what happened with Typical. He was the low medium runner in a sea of hard compound runners, and he's ended this race with, unfortunately, a DNF for him. So they have to be smart about the moves they go for. They can't risk it into every corner knowing that they have the grip. They have to be smart. They have to be intelligent. They have to know when to go for the move and when not to go for the move. But we're going to find out. Up at the front though, it is a checkerboard in the top four. Francesco Lago, Ivan, Fraser, Ivan Knai, CPI, Neverlast Racing, CPI, Neverlast Racing. As we are about to get underway once again, as Francesco Lago is going to bring us back to green flag racing. The safety car is in at the end of this lap. We're staying on board with Ivan for the restart. And we are back again to green flag racing. Ivan not caught napping as much this time around, as Grandada saying GT10 supporting them as well, wishing all of his friends good luck. And of course around Monaco we are going to need it, as De Valde right underneath that rear wing of Ivan Knai potentially could have a look in towards Mirabel hold, but no, he's going to sit in behind for the time being, maybe into the hairpin. No, again the Scuderia Ferrari, the GT10 driver, is going to hold position for right now. Jerem though making a swift overtake on Bella Orfox there in the background as well. Coming through the Novell chicane, Francesco Lago already a second up the road. As Lolo here, I think that would have been just a warning picked up there for the EVE driver, but pushing Rizzo through these corners. DRS is now enabled, and he's on the battery, he's on the ERS, he's on the ERS, he's in overtake, he's going to look to the inside, in towards Sandoval, down the inside goes Lolo, and I think a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact has slowed up Rizzo enough that he's just been overtaken by a whole heap of cars here as we climb up the hill through Massenet in towards Casino. And this man on the medium tyres trying his best to get himself back into this race as best as possible, and that's of course OVR Jerem here, as he has the grip advantage over the rest of the field at this moment in the race. CPI Fraser trying to put Ivan under pressure because he is in the middle of a Neverlast Racing sandwich as we head through the Novell chicane for the 16th time in this race. Francesco Lago though, as Lolo is out of the race, virtual safety car deployed, and Lolo out of the race at the Novell chicane. I'm wondering if Lolo might have just turned in a little bit too early or tried to carry a bit too much speed, locking up into the wall. VSC deployed here. on lap 16. So that is 2 VSCs, 2 full course safety cars we have seen in 16 laps around Monaco. Set of medium compound tyres going on to Lucas's car for EVE. Of course, the lone EVE driver here now, and a heartbreak for him. And in fact, I was thinking then, was he stuck in the pit lane? He has been released now though, which is good to see. But Lucas they're now going to be down towards the back of the field. Lap 17 of 39. We are approaching the halfway distance in this race. Francesco Lago, right now, I mean, it's been so stop and start for Francesco Lago in this race. I honestly don't know what we're going to see. Obviously, Francesco Lago's pace over the rest of the field seems to be impervious. But with the amount of safety cars and virtual safety cars that we have seen, it is going to be incredibly intriguing to see if Francesco Lago is going to keep the concentration levels needed at such a high level. Of course, the virtual safety car has now turned into a full course safety car, so there we go. That is safety car number 3 in this race. And I honestly, I don't know. Jav, your prediction of 4 safety cars right now is looking very, very... Honestly, it's looking quite generous, I'd say, at the moment. Because I feel like there's potential. There could be more. As the Granddad there in chat saying medium tyres can't hold until the end. I mean, you say that, but of course some of the drivers here are very good on the tyre wear, so maybe they could hold to the end, but they just won't be quick enough to really fight for anything towards the end. But it's a big question that we will find the answers to at some point. I don't think the strategy is over and done with. Of course, these guys on the set of the hards, we are going to be almost guaranteeing that they're going to the end. Finley in the chat saying they can easily go to the end. Yeah, I just feel like the tyre grip level, the pace in the tyres will drop off towards the end, and that is to be expected going over 20 laps on the set of the medium compound tyres, but we'll have to wait and see. I do feel around a circuit like this, being able to take the tyres all the way to the end from this distance is going to provide a lot of overtaking action in the first few laps when we're back to green flag racing. But after that, I feel that towards the end of the race, the medium runners are going to be trying to defend more than attack if they're able to get their tyres towards the end. But Lucas there, on the fresher of the medium tyres, 2 lap old medium compound tyres there for the EVE man, currently down in P14, right behind Bella Orthrox there in 13th place. Jerem, the highest medium runner right now, on 5 lap old mediums. Now, bear in mind, while he is on 5 lap old mediums, the wear on them is not 5 laps. Of course, we have had safety cars, so take a couple of laps off of the wear for Jerome in this race. And yeah, I feel like his tyres are probably, in terms of like racing lap 1, are probably like around 3 laps 1 at this moment in the race. And Lucas, even though his are like 2 laps 1, I have a feeling it's closer to 1 lap wear on him at this moment in time. Safety car about to come in again for the third time in tonight's race. Lap 19. We're about to begin lap number 20 as we enter the second half of this Grand Prix. Francesco Lago leads away. Ivan there for Neverlast Racing there in P2 as we look to get ourselves going through Anthony Knowles and back to Green Flag Racing once again. Francesco Lago with a fantastic restart. Half a second gap to the Neverlast Racing man in behind as Fraser, and a little bit of pressure from Ivan Knight, but not close enough to really threaten the CPI man as they climb up the hill. But look at this in behind. Harvey on the back of Seeb. You got Jerome there on the set and the mediums, literally pushing Harvey through Casino. Might have looked on the inside in towards Mirabel Holt, but no, he's going to sit in behind, maybe down the inside into the hotel hairpin, no, and sits in behind again. But you can see the grip advantage that Jerome has over these hard runners at this stage in the race. And not only that, you think as well with Jerome, he was up towards the front in the early stages, and he definitely appears to not only have a pace advantage over these guys in front of him, but also the grip advantage, which is causing Jerome right now to really be pushing the FRT driver through a lot of these corners. And Jerome has to get this move done as soon as possible. Maybe he'll have a look into Raskas. What a run there through swimming pool. No attempts into Raskas, but down in towards turn number 1, maybe, as he's on the ERS. He's burning the battery. He's in the slipstream, but is he going to be close enough? No, he is not, as we come through Sandoval again to begin lap 21. And it looks like Jerome climbing up the hill. Looks to the inside, in towards Massenet. And oh, he just can't get his car far enough alongside the FRT man to make the overtake stick. But you're seeing there, as in behind Lucas, fighting, trying to get through on Rizzo. And him and Callum are in a bit of a battle as well for 12th, 13th and 14th place in this race. Bella down to 15th place, but back up to Jerome here. He's tucked up underneath that rear wing. He's going to look at trying to make a move in towards the Novel chicane. Down the inside goes the OVR man, and he gets the move done. A little bit of contact mid-corner, but everyone gets through there just fine and dandy, thankfully, as Seeb tries to get onto the back of Boyle Lulu here for P8 as they come in towards Raskas. You see Jerome closing up in the background, and he on those tyres is absolutely flying. But up towards the front, CPI Fraser beginning to put the pressure on Ivan for P2. Will it be a CPI 1-2 in this race, or can Neverlast Racing work their way into a potential double podium here? As we have a yellow flag towards the back now is of course VMV Jan, who unfortunately has gone for a bit of a half spin down there towards the back of the field pool swimming pool. Of course, Francesco Lago has gone again. 3.8 seconds the gap between Francesco Lago and of course Ivan in P2. Almost 4 seconds now between them, as Francesco Lago is absolutely flying up at front, as Verti on the back as Wade trying to put him under pressure. And then of course we got Jerome there. It's a little bit of ghosting going on as Jerome there goes through Seeb. So I'm guessing Seeb might have made a bit of a mistake on the exit. The Noval chicane was slowed him down enough to ghost him, and that allowed Jerome there a very easy overtake. Up in the P9 now goes the OVR man. He's on a charge. Meanwhile, Callum gets through on Rizzo, and Lucas in P5, in P14 on 5-lap old medium tyres. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong number there. As we got a yellow flag in the Novel chicane, and that's of course Jan, who has gone around once again. Deval there currently in P5, holding off the likes of Zwade and Verti. Of course, we're seeing Boyle Lulu and the likes of Jerome getting close to the back of him. Jerome now on the back of Boyle Lulu as we come through Portier and now through the tunnel. Answer your question, done. Yes, it is, because basically, if your car's going slow enough to ghost, then it's you know, it's dangerous. But yeah, you are allowed to go through people if that did happen. Yeah, a little bit different than real life, obviously. But yeah, it's one of them ones where obviously he's been slowed down enough that he's ghosted, and in terms of fair racing, it is what it is. As we got Fraser all over the back of Ivan here for P2 as he looks to the inside in towards Mirabel. Hold as they side by side, little bit of contact on the exit now into the Grand Hotel hairpin. Ivan on the inside, Fraser around the outside. They're still side by side in towards Mirabel Bass, and now through Portier, and it looks like Fraser might have just got that done, but Ivan better traction on the exit. They're going to be side by side. We're on board with Ivan Knai here, and looking at this battle up ahead between the two of them. Ivan holding on to P2. Fraser though now giving the Neverlast Racing team something to think about. Well, what a lovely little switchback there from Ivan on the exit of Portier, getting the traction he needed to get that move done. Meanwhile, you've still got Drum on those mediums, really hounding the back of Boyolulu here for P8. And of course, Boyolulu, no DRS for him, as now, yep, here we go with DRS and ERS. Here comes Drum, going to close up to the back of Boyolulu, not close enough to make a move, but he's going to sit in behind as we climb up the hill towards Massenet. Is he going to potentially try and set this up on the exit of Casino? You can see the grip advantage that Jerome has over Boyolulu, even at this stage in the race. Oh, big lock up there from the Ferrari. That's going to allow Jerome a little opportunity, but no, not going to be done. Meanwhile, in front of them, you're seeing Verti, Zwade, and Deval there. Obviously, battling out. Looks like Deval trying to break away from these guys in behind us. Verti and Zwade were having a little bit of a scrap. Meanwhile, after Fraser's attempt on Ivan, we're starting to see Ivan Klein now try to apply a bit of pressure to the CPI man who is currently in P3. As look at that, I think a bit of contact made between Boyolulu and Jerome as Sieb has now overtaken the pair of them. Up into P8 goes the IRT man as I look for any wing damage between the pair of them. Blue flags waving there for Jan. And it's important that Jan does keep going in this race, because even though he's P16, it is one more retirement. He gets VMV a singular point out of tonight's race, and any point really does matter. Verdi on the back of his way, climbing up the hill in towards Massenet. And honestly, Massenet, not the best place to try go for an overtake if you're that far behind, but Verdi's going to hold in tight. Maybe have a look into the Grand Hotel hairpin perhaps, as Jerome there just making sure that he's just keeping his options open, giving Boyolulu something to think about ahead of him. IRT having a fantastic race thus far, currently in P6 and P8. Honestly, they're doing a fantastic job, both Zwade and Sieb, in this race. Boyolulu though has lost track of Sieb in this race, and I'm wondering if is that down to potentially a bit of wing damage. We're trying to go on board and just have a little look. Visibly no wing damage for Boyolulu, but 1.8 off the back of Sieb. I think there's definitely something wrong in that Scuderia Ferrari, and Jerome has to get through as quickly as possible now. As we go through Sandoval, up the hill now, through Beau Rivage, in towards Massenet. Jerome now needs to get this move done. Boyolulu is losing way too much time to Sieb up ahead, and the longer the OVR man stays behind Boyolulu, the more difficult it's going to be in this race to get the job done late on when it comes to defending his position. The top, the guys towards the front are starting to space out just a little bit, so the closest battle is this one, the battle for P9, as here comes Jerome around the outside in towards the Novell chicane, going to look for the better exit, and that's a horrible camera angle right there from the game. of the battle that we was hoping to see potentially some overtakes of, but instead we got a lovely view of the rear of the Scuderia Ferrari, but of course not what we was hoping to see there. But what we are hoping to see is maybe a potential overtake in towards Sanderon. No. Jerome has to be smart about where he goes for this overtake, but you can see the time Boyolulu has lost to these guys up ahead. Sieb is already on the back of this train with Verdi, Zwade and Deval. And Deval right now doing a great job for GT10, holding on to P5. He's got a bit of pressure in behind, but he's driving his race at the moment. That's what he's doing. Meanwhile, his teammate Boyolulu is really doing a fantastic job defending from Jerome here, and we're seeing the GT10 teams like doing a defensive masterclass of sorts around this circuit, because there's definitely got to be something wrong with Boyolulu's car. He's lost way too much pace in that car for me to think that there's not something wrong with that car. Oh, was that Callum hitting the back of Jerome there? In towards Raskas. Callum there. Front wing damage goes around. Oh my god. As Lucas with wing damage. Callum into the pits, retires from the race. And this is why Jan should not have given up. This is why I was saying that he shouldn't give up. Because now Jan has a point in the bag for VMV as long as he sees the checkered flag. Lap 29 of 39. Francesco Lago nearing that 10 seconds ahead, as Jav in the chat saying, I think Callum had a wheel disconnection. Potentially a heartbreak though for Callum and FGE. But it's one of them ones where you hate to see it, and I think Jerome though, he's going to be fuming about that, as he also has wing damage there, tapping the wall coming through to back, and then of course we'll be tapping more walls as we go around the circuit. That is for sure. Heartbreak for him. Ivan though trying his best to build a gap between himself and Fraser to allow even Clyde to potentially close up with DRS to have a go for the podium. Of course, we got this fantastic four-way battle for P5 as well to stick our teeth into, as Deval for GT10 holding on to P5 at the moment, with Zwade in 6th place for IRT, OVR Verdi in 7th, and Sieb, the second of the IRT drivers, there holding strong in 8th place. And remember guys, this is big for IRT to really reel in the likes of FRT here, because FRT, as you can see, Bella and Harvey outside of the top 10, and they are not going to be scoring as much as IRT here tonight. Remember, the gap between the two teams was 10 points coming into tonight. As in the chat right there, Jao saying point for Jan. Yeah, absolutely. Jan right now in a point paying position, which is ideal for him. Jerome though, he makes his pit stop. He tries to set the soft compound tires, so he's not only trying to get as many points as possible, he's also trying to go for the fastest lap of the race. Remember, Lucas and Harvey both have penalties to their name, so it's not out the realms of possibility that Jerome, on those quicker soft compound tires, could potentially get himself up into P10 by the end of this race with the fastest lap as well. That could be a possibility as well. So this could be a decent recovery for Jerome by the end of this race. But of course, it all depends on what happens in the remaining laps that we have here at Monaco. Francesco Lago, though, in a absolute world of his own, as Verdi side by side with Sieb heading down in towards the Noel chicane. And that is Sieb now up into P7. IRT now getting a bit of a move on, trying to gain some extra positions towards the end of this race. Lap 32 of 39. Francesco Lago leads the way. 10 seconds is the gap to Ivan in second place, who's built a 1.4 second lead over Fraser, who is now going to be under pressure late into this race from Ivan Knai for that final podium position. Then 10 seconds back from those guys is this battle that we're currently on board with Deval for GT10 leading this 4-car train, with both of the IRT pairing of Zwade and Sieb there in 6th and 7th, and of course OVR Verdi there in 8th. Any one of these 4 drivers could be walking away with P5 if they time their overtakes well enough and are in the right position at the right time. Then 3.5 seconds back from them is, of course, Boyo Lulu, as Jan has disconnected from the session. Hopefully we can get Jan back in. Hopefully there's someone in the lobby that hasn't... I think Lucas is also disconnected here. Potentially. Yeah, I think Lucas is also disconnected. Heartbreak there for not only Lucas but also Deval as well. We're going to try to get him back in as quickly as possible. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get them in though, due to the fact that Jan is on Xbox, and of course I believe, I mean Lucas, I believe is okay. I might be able to get Lucas back in. Lucas currently in P10. Let's see if we can get Lucas back in real quick. Hopefully we are able to, well, when it decides to load, that is. Alright, can we actually, oh, maybe have it load? Oh, no. Right. Okay, right. I can't add Lucas as a friend right now. Which is heartbreak there. We're gonna try our best to keep you updated with all the action, as well as try to get these drivers back in as quickly as possible. Jan is back in, which is fantastic to see. So Jan is now back in his car. Lucas, so I'm going to see if I can get Lucas back in. Lucas, if you add me as a friend, I can try to get you back in. If someone in EVE can let Lucas know, if he adds me as a friend, I can get him back in. He is right now losing, lost all the time that he had on Harvey, and he's about to be overtaken. But there's still points up for grab for Lucas in this race, as it looks like it's going to be a long one for him. Unfortunately, I'm unable to send him a friend request for some reason due to his settings. But if you get him to add me, I can try to get him back in, just so that he has the ability to fight for P10 instead of falling down the order. Meanwhile, Drumley, he's almost on the back of Rizzo. If Drem can get through, he's maybe going to walk away with a P10 here. Of course, towards the front, while we was trying to sort that out, Fraser has dropped Ivan Kanai and is putting pressure on Ivan for P2. So guys, the battle for P2 is beginning to heat up. Ivan Kanai is falling away from that podium battle. Verdi with a 3-second time penalty. That is pretty much almost signed, sealed and delivered his race, unless he gets a bit of wing damage or falls away in terms of pace to Boyolulu behind. 8th place is where he's going to end up at the end of this race. But you can see Fraser putting the pressure on Ivan there for P2, as we have this battle still ongoing, the battle for P5. It is now basically Verti has essentially taken himself out of this battle due to the unfortunate penalty that he has picked up. So it is now between Deval, Zwade and Sieb for P5. And of course we got this man currently in 13th place, flying on those soft tyres, using the grip, using the superior grip advantage that he does have on these guys ahead to try and make these overtakes happen. He's going to outbrake Rizzo down the inside. Oh, rear lock up there for Rizzo, and that has allowed, sorry, Jerome there, rear lock up. That's allowed Rizzo back through, and that is not what Jerome wants. And I bet Rizzo right there, heart in mouth moment for him. But we are going to see if Jerome can try and get himself back through as he gets a much better run through Sandoval, as it looks like a yellow flag there. And I think that is, of course, Jan just getting out of the way of the leader, Francesco Lago, who has a gap of 16 seconds. The gap for Francesco Lago. Absolutely incredible pace shown by the CPI man here tonight. And I think what we've got here in the closing stages is potentially a bit of an interesting one, because Rizzo and Jerome are absolutely closing up to Lucas, so they're going to jump Lucas on penalties. Lucas, unfortunately, disconnected from the session. I'm unable to add him as a friend to bring him back into it, which is unfortunate. Back up towards this battle, though. I mean, because Wade and Sieb on the back of Deval, they're unable to get through on the GT10 driver at the moment. Honestly, guys, oh, who's that gone off? Is that Jan there? That is Jan that has gone off there. Carried on at Mirabel Holt. There has Jan, and that is not ideal for him. But this right now is where things are getting interesting. We're about to come on to the penultimate lap of this race. Lap 38. Francesco Lago is in another stratosphere. He's gone. Like the only one he's racing is himself right now. He's got to drive within himself, get to the checkered flag, right? Francesco Lago is completely fine. What we are looking at by here is CPI Fraser right now in a Neverlast Racing sandwich. And what we could be seeing here, as it looks like, is that on the minimap, Jerome down the order again. He's at a moment at the Novell chicane once again, and he's lost a huge amount of time to Rizzo up the front. So I think that's race over and done with right now for Jerome. I think apart from getting ahead of Lucas's penalty share, I think that's him over and done with. But what I was going to say is the closing stages of this race is going to be interesting, because Ivan could potentially do a little bit of a mobile chicane moment to back Fraser to be overtaken by Ivan Knai here for a double Neverlast Racing podium as we head on to the final lap. Francesco Lago, I mean, this is just something else on Francesco Lago, let's be honest. But this is where things are getting interesting. The battle for the podium. Will it be Ivan holding on to P2? Will it be CPI Fraser getting P2? Will it be a double CPI podium, or will it be a double Neverlast Racing podium? That is the question. I think, though, Ivan Knai just hasn't got the pace of the two in front of him and is really struggling with getting himself into a position where he could potentially try to go for an overtake and get ahead of Fraser. But again, we have the IRT pairing of Zwade and Sieb. Honestly, I feel that Sieb actually, in the closing stages, have had the better pace over Zwade. So I'm surprised we haven't seen a team order come in from IRT to do a little switcheroo and give Sieb an opportunity to have a go at Deval here in the closing stages. But for right now, they're doing great. As Francesco Lago, he's already crossed the finish line. That's how far ahead he was. Francesco Lago stays absolutely where he belongs. Out of trouble, out of sight. And now the battle for second place as DRS is wide open. ERS is being used, but Ivan is going to hold on to P2. Fraser in P3 completing the podium. Even Kneide in P4. And are we going to see any last minute overtakes here for P5, 6, 7? I don't think so. I think everyone's going to be line astern here as we come across the line. Deval for GT10 holds on the P5 ahead of both of the IRT pair of Suede and Sieb. And Verti drops down to P9 after being overtaken on the time penalties by Boyo Lulu. Up into P8 goes the GT10 driver. FRT Harvey into P10. And then, of course, we got Rizzo crossing the line right now for VMV in 11th place. And then, of course, Lucas, who unfortunately disconnected from the session. I was unable to get him in due to not being able to add him as a friend due to one of his settings, unfortunately, which is a heartbreak for Lucas. I did try, so apologies to the EVE team on that one, but absolutely nothing I could do to get him back in unless he added me, but I've not had a notification or anything, so absolutely nothing I could do there, guys. But Francesco Lago for CPI wins the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a double CPI podium here for round number 5. But let's run you through the order one more time. It is Francesco Lago who takes away the victory with Ivan there in P2. CPI Fraser in P3 with Ethan Knai in P4. GT10's Deval there in P5. Zwade for IRT in P6, and of course IRT Sieb in 7th place. Boyo Lulu for GT10 in 8th with OVR Verti in 9th. FRT's Harvey is rounding out the top 10. And of course outside the top 10 we have Rizal for VMV, EVE Lucas, Jerome with the fastest lap in 13th for Bella Fox, and Jan completing the final points playing positions. Our non-finishers were of course Callum, Lolo, Typical and Turbo Toms. Wow. What a... Honestly, I mean, it's Monaco. It's very difficult to make overtakes happen. Of course, the drivers' mistakes did cost a few drivers out there. And obviously for the likes of Jerome, I mean, his race was kind of thrown away the moment he got that drive-through penalty and had to go all the way to the back to try to get him back through the field. It was going to be a very difficult job for him. Verdi, what could have been for him if he didn't have to double stack behind his teammate under the first safety car, where obviously everyone came into the pits and put on a set of the hards. But absolute masterclass of Monaco from Francesco Lago. Absolute masterclass right there from Francesco Lago and the CPI team. But incredible. Quick reminder of the standings that was coming into tonight. Nevertheless Racing was leading the way on 4 points. Of course, I do believe potentially CPI might have just jumped Nevertheless Racing, or they might be tied on points. Who knows? But a big race for both of those teams as they move further away from those behind them. Evisio Racing, of course, one DNF and one driver who unfortunately disconnected towards the end, meant that they're not scoring big points here tonight. GT10, I think, they done well enough to jump themselves up in the P3 and have a bit of a cushion now between themselves. EVE and of course OVR, who had their own struggles here tonight. FRT, have they done enough to stay ahead of IRT? I don't think so. I think IRT might have potentially done enough to jump them, but we'll have to wait and see. VMV and FGE though in their battle for P8, and then of course LR. I mean, no points for LR, unfortunately. Again, their drivers, one driver showing up and unfortunately unable to see the checker flag, so LR remaining in 10th place on a singular point. A quick reminder of the points as well here in EML. So there you go. It was 22 points for the race win, 18 points for second, 15 points for third, 12 points for fourth, and then it goes down in increments of 1 to 15th place, which is why it was important for Jan to not give up. Even though Jan was having a bad race out there, Jan didn't give up, and Jan walks away with a singular point. Fastest lap point, of course, going the way of OVR Jerome on the soft tyres towards the end. And then, of course, the pole position point went the way of CPI. Guys, we will be back next week as we head to the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And we go from the jewel in the F1 calendar, the Monaco Grand Prix, Monte Carlo, to the track that is dubbed Monaco without the barriers. The Hungaroring is where we'll be going to for round number 6 as we close off the first half of the season in Hungary next time out. And of course, after that, we'll be taking a week break before heading to the Canadian Grand Prix, then to Vegas, to Singapore, Mexico, Kota, and then, of course, to Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina to end the season off. But guys, massive congratulations to the CPI team on a fantastic victory, a double podium for their team, and obviously Neverlast Racing there giving them every bit of fight. It seems to be the tale of those two teams for this season, and we're going to see what is going to happen in the future. Again, a massive shout out to our sponsors at Ronin Printworks 3D as well. We really do appreciate your sponsorship here in the Esports Masters League. But guys, that is it for tonight. My name has been Michael Edwards, and I'll catch you next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Until then, guys, have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you in the next one. Good night.